I'll say how. There you have it.
Hello.
We're here with Lakeesha Harris of the Black Witch Chronicles. That right there is Zoe Flowers. Our wonderful
Hey.
Black Witch Chronicles guest is Zoe Flowers. Keisha, say something so
Hey.
your face comes up.
Hey y'all. What it do? We have a
There goes
beautiful,
Lakeesha Harris.
beautiful out. Welcome to the Black Witch Chronicles. It's been a while.
It certainly has been a while. And you know what? This is the right time to come back. This moon is a call to action because it's a real clearing for our emotional baggage that has been causing us much suffering. There has been so much heartbreak in all of our lives at this point that we absolutely must clear some of this detritus from the heart and just really surrender a lot of the secrets, the shames, the madnesses, and the grievances and so forth. You know, if you're going to have an issue, you need to just come to terms with it and move through the issue because the heart is full. And this moon in Pisces is all about illuminating what is dark in the underbelly, in the underside like that. You know?
Ashe.
It's
Um,
really about letting all of that known.
I agree. I agree. And this is why we call this episode "What Lies Underneath Must Rise." Like, you know, secrets, what we harbor, our feelings can't lie buried underneath forever. They must rise to the surface. And this is the perfect time, like Dr. G said, to make some clearing, make some pathways, and open up your heart chakra for love. I notice in the clinic what's going on the physical side of things when people are harboring a lot of stress, a lot of untold stories or secrets they may have. Um, it's popping up in all types of infections. And what I have seen as of late um, is an upswing in yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, all of these things that are telling you that your body is off balance.
Oh,
HSV, herpes. All of these are kind of signs of inflammation in the body, stress on the body, and it's so a physical symptom or a physical sign that there's something lying underneath that needs to come up, manifest, and be cleared. What do you think about that, Dr. G?
right now, the environment has changed very quickly. Okay? There's been many generations of people with very minimal shift in the environment. So the body had really acclimatized itself to the environment for a very long time, you know? About the same amount of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen in the air, sort of similar waves and tides with heat and wet and so forth. Now all of a sudden humans are being asked to take in all of these chemicals, take in all of this smog. And this is not even starting with the frequency of everything.
Hmm.
You're taking in the frequency of these instruments that we're all using right now. We're using it to our highest good, and we're in a situation where all of this is showing to mess up people's meridians. So some of us are just end up getting really thrown off balance by the dietary stuff with all the chemicals that's in the food, and the poor little plants don't get rotated anymore, so the minerals are leached out of those plants. They don't have the proper nutrition in them. You think your kale is on point, but it may actually not still have enough magnesium, for instance. And if people don't have magnesium, so many pieces of the puzzle can fall apart behind not having these essential minerals that you need to keep the machine moving. So that's one way, is just the environmental toxicity. You know, Zoe, I'd be interested to hear what you have to say up behind that, but that's environment.
Well, it's funny that you're saying that because, so two things. One thing is, as y'all were talking, I pulled this goddess card Sulis and her name is Sulis, and she is about illness and wellness, and
Mm.
about and if you look closely, you see she's also coming up from the depths, which is so interesting because I literally just split the deck in half and turned it, and here she is rising from the underneath, which is exactly what we're talking about. But she's also about striking that balance between the illness and the wellness. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that. But a lot of the things that I see now working with people environmentally is the effect of all of the electronics on us. And having the television on and sleeping with your phone right next to you and always in front of your computer, and how that too is just throwing off the energy that we have, because obviously we know we're all energy. And so one of the things that I see is that this constant influx of electricity is really messing with our internal chemistry, but also our ability to get any messages, So not only are people checked out because of diet, because of environmental pollution and things like that, and because of trauma, but they're also blocked off because of all the frequencies that are coming through them through the electronics.
I see.
So one of the things I'm just thinking about is, as we're fasting from foods and things like that, to also think about fasting from electronics as well, as one of the things that's coming through right now, actually, as we're talking.
Oh, I
Right.
know. I have well, I went to Brazil, and one of the things that is, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because one of the things that Yamaya took with her in the ocean was my cell phone.
Mm.
Without a cell phone for like 2 weeks. She was like, no, 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 no. I'm going to need
Okay.
to get rid of the technology for a
Yeah.
little bit. I'm going to need you to fast from that mode of communication and
Yeah.
think of other unique ways, which aren't unique, right? Actually, going and interacting with someone is not a unique way, but it was one that in which I was missing out on. Actually having a conversation with somebody that did not include text or a cell phone in my hand constantly. Um, so I'm so in agreement with you and in alignment. And oftentimes I will see clients come in and they can't even have a conversation with their health practitioner without being on the phone,
Yeah.
attached to the hip, with that form of communication, and it throws us way off balance. And the stress of it all, right? Having that, being constantly on the phone, having that, having everybody have access to you and your person, the stress that it causes on the body, and throwing the pH off off whack.
Well, and too, it's another way. And so I think with anything, even like with this card, with this illness and wellness, it's just this constant sort of balance. So on the one hand, we can have this great conversation that we're having because of modern technology. But then on the other hand, it's just one more way to disconnect from what might our bodies might be trying to tell us, or what our children might be trying to tell us, or what our partners are trying to tell us, right? So it's just another way to sort of distance ourselves, right? How many things have we said through text that we would never say if we were face to face? So we have to
Right.
be very careful in this time, about disconnection and disconnectedness, I think.
Okay. Well, here's the thing that I really want to say in response to this thread that we've come up from the depths with. I love that you asked about yeast, wellness of the yoni. Keisha, this is why I love you, and this is why the Black Witch Chronicles is all at. Because this is the thing. The stressors, the environment. People are like, well, what's all that have to do with yeast infections? Everything. If you look at the biochemistry of yeast, you're going to see the vaginal system and in the intestinal system. A person needs to have just that right balance of natural healthy bacteria that assists in um, digestion, among other things, and yeast, which also assists in digestion and other balances of our wellness just throughout the entire system. And you know what? Stress throws it off. Acids throw it off. All this fast food we're eating creates acidity in the body. That acidity is going to be a very friendly environment for what? Yeast is like a nice, lovely environment like that. Guess what else yeast grows on? You want to make you a nice loaf of bread, you've got to pour sugar in there and watch that yeast bubble up and get cute, because that yeast lives off of all of these sugars. So we got sugary, acidy bodies, and then stress makes us acidic. We all want to get a sour stomach with that stress that we get. Yeast infections. Keisha, on point. It's the whole story. That is a sign that it is time to cleanse, that it is time to detox.
You know, it's so interesting that you're saying that. Yesterday I was with a group of girlfriends at the Church of Hair Salons. And, you know, when we get together to get our hair done, it's like a sermon. And one of the things we were talking about was the loss of the tradition almost about black mothers teaching us how to do our own hair. Y'all are so funny with your laughing. But it felt like church. So, but we were talking about the grooming that doesn't happen anymore, right? About the mothers not teaching their daughters how to groom themselves, clean themselves, how the whole thing we're just not doing. And so hence you have young girls who, you know, they want to be permed out, weaved out, or whatever, not just for a style, but because they, again, this whole disconnection message keeps coming through to me, but they don't know how to do their own hair. So I don't know. I just wonder how that whole sugary body that you were talking about, the stress, the yeast, the this, it's like there's so many things about our bodies that we're so disconnected from.
I totally agree with that. And I think trauma, environmental trauma, psychological, physical trauma creates an environment where you are disconnected from everything, disconnected from your hair, disconnected from your environment, disconnected from this total body. One of the things that we do within the clinic, when clients come in, we ask them if they want to insert their own speculum, or the nurse practitioner has asked them if they want to see their cervix. And that's a very difficult piece for a lot of people who have been traumatized through sexual assault, through not seeing themselves as a whole being or whole person. That's a very difficult piece. So when we're talking about hair, something as superficial as the hair on your head, like that's the last thing we're really thinking of when we are trying to connect with our bodies through oppression and through trauma, you know? So I don't know if it's necessarily women showing their daughters how to groom hair, or else if there's an association, and Dr. G talks about this all the time, being disassociated or disconnected from the body because of trauma.
Right. So that's what we were talking about, is just the total sort of shaming and disconnecting of the black body as a whole, and hair is just one aspect of it. You know, it's really from just top to bottom of just how to even take care of themselves just as women. Those things are not being passed down.
Well, and you know what? Part of it not being passed down also has to do with the legacy of trauma that we have right about now. Because we're shut down to this body, and we know that. We have been shut down. Today, everybody's talking about this damn rape culture and this, you know, man who was seen assaulting his woman partner. What was she? I don't know if she was his wife at the time and she became his wife since the video, but either way, this man got himself involved. I didn't look at it, but I know there's a lot of talk about it. This full moon is bringing a lot into light. And one of the things that absolutely is imperative as soon as possible, as in amen, it's today, come to light in a major way, is this real conversation about the rape culture and the assault culture. Because we have a lot of sexual health imbalance as a result of that. That's very real.
Yes, yes, that's very real. And one of the questions that I would put on the table is, how does conjure or being a black witch or black healer manifest in help to facilitate healing from those traumas that we are having within our community for ourselves? In what way do we have to work to do that? I hope that I'm clear with that. I'm a little tired after work.
This is the thing. How we have to work with this is however it comes to us, because we all have our own strengths and our own guidance. And people need to learn to trust that they are doing what they need to be doing in service to breaking down the barriers and, more importantly, undoing the spell. Because this pattern is so deep that it's a spell. It's like young men become bewitched. We all know why this rape culture is complicated. And it is because the rapists are our fathers and brothers and uncles and friends.
Yes.
That is why. And everybody want to be running around the mulberry bush right now.
Come on.
And the real circumstance has to be dealt with. Because I can't be living like this no more just because everybody's so freaking uncomfortable behind this. I'm like, I don't care how uncomfortable it is. I need this shit to stop. Like, I don't need just to constantly laying a Band-Aid. You know, Zoe is a brilliant woman. This beautiful woman, Zoe, that we have as our guest today. I mean, she has been working for years in domestic violence. She is such an important avatar in our community right now, working to support the dismantling of this frequency. You know, to have Zoe with us today when the energy has really been illuminated around that is just really, you know, a blessing. I appreciate it because I want everybody to come forward and find their truth. We have to address it as a whole. It has to be perpetrators. I mean, at this point, Zoe could tell us the statistics. Many of our sisters were once abused. And so to go from being victim to abuser to this new victim to this new abuser, this is a little circle that we've been running around for so long that light workers need to get in to this pattern right here that runs on the clock and interfere with it.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Mess with it. Do something with that energy so that we don't. I can't keep playing that same game no more.
Well, I think when you talk about conjure on the subject of conjure, I think it's so key, right? Because number one, it brings us not only into our own bodies, but it also connects us to the earth. It connects us to other people. You know, well, it has the potential to. So I think the conjure is so important. I also think as women, particularly as black witches, you know, the conjure is a part of who we are. And I feel like, you know, Dr. G talks about this all the time about the how successful the witch hunts were, right? So conjure is so important, again, like you said, to break that spell and to get women, you know, back into a space where they're not ashamed of the sacred feminine. You know, so much of, yes, I've been doing this work for a long time, but, you know, so much of the issues and the problems I see is we have women doing this work who are, you know, they're completely outside of the sacred feminine. They're completely outside of the nurturing aspect of the work. And they've really taken on this white patriarchal male paradigm to do this very feminine work. And so until we really get back in touch with that feminine energy to balance some of this stuff out, we're going to continue to see women die. We're going to continue to see videos like the ones we have now. We will continue to go to conferences. I mean, it's not going to end until we really start to balance this stuff out.
And that is the radical work that we have to do.
Right.
We have to say to ourselves, I mean, because when we started the Black Witch Chronicles, a couple of people asked us, why do you call yourself a witch or Black Witch? And I was like, because that is what we are claiming, that is what we are reclaiming, that is the space of conjur that we are reclaiming for the healing purposes of our people. I mean, who have had this heavy spell cast upon them for such a long time and have not known exactly what it is. They think it's the unemployment line. They think they've associated with so many other things. It's diabetes, it's the man, it's the spell. Let's just call that what it is. It's a spell that has been cast upon our people, that has had a stronghold on them for a long time now. And those of us that are healers, light workers, witches, whatever you call yourself, jump in the fray. Bring to the table your tools of conjure, your tools of healing, whatever is necessary for our people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I think we all see clients in our work, and the way I look at it now is, we're healing. Well, we're allowing the healing to come through us. So, we're facilitating with the healing of the coming generations. If we do our work properly with that one woman who's in front of us, we can change a whole generation, which is just amazing when you think about it.
No, I absolutely. And that's the thing, is to just make it happen. And it's very difficult because you know what part of the spell is? Really, it's that there's so much shame and fear around it that people can't people would rather go into a frozen state and just let this thing play itself out horribly rather than interface with it, because that frequency of fear is almost like what makes the spell go. There's this deep resistance. So when people break through, a lot of times it's just in these arguments like, you're right, I'm wrong, like, isn't that horrible? Why isn't the police doing anything about it? Why? It's the last thing you get locked up for. Okay? You can go ahead, if you're a man, and rape you a woman, and don't get started with men are the only people who rape. Stick with the point. If you're a man and you take and you rape a woman and you have any power, you can go yourself to prison like Mike Tyson or somebody for like 3 years and come back out and be fine. Like, you don't even really get in trouble for none of these assaults because that's how seriously asleep the society is, that everybody is somehow feels that that's doable. If they didn't, they wouldn't be happening. And that's been my whole lifetime and many lifetimes before mine, that it's been like that. And to me, that is the spell. I see people under the spell. I see people not handling this issue at all. So if today was the day to cause people to get woke up a little bit, I want to bang the bell and say, wake up some more. Stay awake. Because as soon as we get this handled, we'll all be happier. Everybody will be happier. This is a nonpartisan healing practice for everyone, for the world.
Ashe. So I guess that's something that we can end with. Like, if you're awake, stay awake. If you're not awake, it's time to get awake. We are banging the gong. I mean, how many more gongs do we have to bang? You've seen it on TV. You've seen it play out. It is now time. It is our time to start this major and mega healing process. If you've been a perpetrator of harm to someone, Your time is now to step up. If you have been harmed, your time is now to step up. Get your healing on. Get your praise on. Get your loving on. In closing, do you ladies have anything else to offer the world? What do you want to say?
Oh, yes, we do. We are going to close this evening with a very special treat from the one and only Zoe Flowers.
We are the elements. Stay close to the ground, omnipresent, 6 feet under. Our mother's blood courses through our veins, out our wombs, down legs, feeding soil, hungry. We are dirty with your sadness. Different from anyone you know, omnipotent, we lick wounds and swallow sorrows. Name ourselves goddess. Are not afraid of the dark. Call on God, angels, and ancestors when shit gets tight. We are round, full-figured, full of ourselves. Water. We bathe in basil and sea salt. We're shackled but jumped ship anyway. Sharks fed on our flesh. We are ocean now. You eat us unknowingly. Drink us in. Believe you can suck us dry and quiet our storms, but we are Oya. Settling accounts, we are Ma'at, shifting. You can't box us in, pin us down, or tell our story. Fire. We eat men whole when given the chance. Burn sage, incense, candles, tools of the trade. Dance under moons full. We are loud. Stretch things out to fit our shape. You itch to see us put in our place. We are witch, wise woman, crone, burned at the stake. Air. But we are immortal. Reincarnated in the poems of our daughters, we are phoenix. Eyes in the back of our head, we are Sankofa bird. Live betwixt worlds. Float through walls that you build around us. Blowing cigar smoke in your face, we are juke joint. Speak out both sides of our mouths. Seeing your future in eggshells, it's not looking good for you. Familiars at our side, we tag Miami, Haiti, New Orleans with chalk circles. Drink with Legba at the crossroads. Walk on water masquerading as poet, artist, and mama. We eat too many carbs, fall in love with men who are afraid to love us back, and turn our crooked noses up at your traditions. Jazz, poetry, and Sade are our religions. We are Black Cat crossing your path, that poem you wish you were smart enough to write, the rhyme you are too afraid to spit, fucking up the mood. We are the ejaculation that comes too quickly, gas on a crowded elevator, the uninvited party guest flirting with your boyfriend and eating all your food. In inconvenient truth, we are those shoes you can't afford to buy, that thing you hate but can't let go, those pants that are too tight around your waist now, the song that keeps playing in your head, that chick you know you're not good enough to bang, the one your mama warned you about. We are trouble. Urban sprawl, haunting your daydreams. We are muse, inspiring you to get your game up, teaching by example. We are root worker, obia lady, and conjur woman. That scary broad living at the end of the road alone, glamoring you through forked tongue. We make miracles, and yes, motherfucker, we do ride on brooms. You should be afraid of women like us. Chastity belted, we screw anyway. Do what we want to do. Walk butt naked in the daylight and coming to you at night, carrying blessings and justice in our left hand, machetes and curses at our right.
So sick. So sick. So sick.
Thanks.
Yes. And
Okay.
that is word. And that is word. You have just been blessed, America. You have been blessed.
World, multiverse. We bless you. Peace, love, and understanding.
I receive it. I receive it and give it back.
Ashe. I love you, sisters.
Y'all
Keep
are a
conjuring.
blessing.